Good morning from Mooney's Bay in the nation's capital, site of the 2024 OFSAA Cross Country Championships. Hello everyone, Adam Dunphy and Kate Van Buskirk with you here on athleticscanada.tv. It's a cool morning in Ottawa, temperatures right around 3 degrees. As we're getting set for 7 races here at the championships. Has got a little warmer since our last check, so temperature right now just under 9 degrees as the novice girls getting set to kick off the competition. And let's take a look at the course that they are going to run.
Well, Adam, good morning to you and good morning to everyone watching. It's going to be a fabulous day of competition here in Ottawa, and we're underway with our course preview for this novice girls event. So unlike last year in Toronto, a little bit less hilly. We do have some elevation right off the start, as you can see, but this course really has it all. It has flat sections, it has beach, which you're about to see here, right along, of course, Mooney's Bay being the site of this location. And then back onto the flat. Of course, narrows a little bit through the forest there, but really smooth running throughout. It should make for fast times, excellent competition, and then of course finishing in a stadium. You can't ask for anything better. Excellent opportunity for the observers as well, the spectators. There you see the entirety of that outer loop that will be run twice by these novice runners, and Adam, setting up to be just a thrilling day.
So that course will be run, as you mentioned, Kate, by the novice athletes as well as the para-athletes. It's just a hair under 4 kilometers at 39.80. A couple of the key teams in this novice girls race, St. Marcellinus and Bishop Allen Academy. St. Marcellinus, an impressive showing at the ROPSA regional. We had the top finisher, the 5th place finisher, the 6th place finisher, and the 7th place finisher. Bishop Allen Academy from Etobicoke, also a strong showing at the regional. A couple of our individuals to keep an eye on. Camila Ferrero from St. Marcellinus. She won the ROPSA title, a time of 16:24. Maeve Agras from Father John Redmond was the Toronto District champion, a time of 16:03. And Chloe Walker from Uxbridge, she was the LOSA champion. She clocked in at a time of 14:50.26. That was almost 44 seconds better than second place in that regional.
Well, Adam, of course, as you mentioned, we do have individual titles on the line. OFSAA being one of the premier events across not just Ontario, but of course Canada as well. And a competition that I ran all 5 years of my high school career back in the day when there were 5 years of high school. And an event that rivaled any other national or international competition that I ever competed in by way of prestige, excitement, pressure in hopefully a good way for these athletes. And like I said, you know, the individual titles really exciting, but this is what I love about the high school competition too, is the opportunity for teams to really show their colors and compete strong for those team titles too. So you can see the spectators already lining up there, many of them in warm coats and blankets. Pretty typical cross-country weather, I would say, Adam, for the kickoff to this first race here for the novice, just under 9 degrees. Moderate winds, but no precipitation thus far, and that's what we like to see because, as we know, those courses, once they get muddy, they can be treacherous. So things looking pretty good off the bat here.
Well, muddy, and then with the temperature today, too, don't have to worry about any freezing of that muddy, chewed-up terrain. So in terms of conditions, this is pretty ideal for these competitors.
It's always these nervous moments right before the start, Adam. This is where you see a couple of athletes jumping up and down. They're not able to do any more strides. The course is closed. And just sort of trying to either shake out or get control of those nerves ahead of the gun. The red flag walking across, that means that they're just checking everyone to make sure that teams and individuals are ready to go. And we are seconds away from the kickoff to the 2024 OFSAA Cross Country Championships here in Ottawa.
It's the first race of 7 here at the championships. 288 competitors scheduled to start this novice girls race.
And there's the Gator, Adam. We mentioned last year that course at Centennial Park in Toronto included a ski hill, often, the bane of the athlete's existence as we're underway now at the start of this race. No ski hill to contend with here in the novice girls 4K competition. A little bit of elevation, like I said, relatively early on here, but a Gator leading them off. And I can tell you, as someone who has often been the bike rider who is the rabbit of a race, it is very nice to have a Gator this time to make sure that these athletes are off and well with a strong rabbit, and right away a really fast start here, Adam.
Gator seems a little more souped up than we've had in previous years as well. Of course, it's also got to deal with the sand, as these competitors will be running on the beach for a portion of this race. 2 laps of the inner loop for these novice girls. Get into that first hill pretty early, Kate. If you're out there, are you happy to get that one out of the way soon?
I would say so. I think that being able to tackle that when you still have the adrenaline off the start line is definitely the way to go. Now, that looks as though it was Grace Mara Miri of Georgetown in the lead early on. Again, things will change, and you can see already the bunching up. This is what happens. You sprint off that start line and then have to sort of measure your effort over that first hill. So that's why you're seeing the congestion really early on. So athletes will do well just to find their footing and do the best they can to sort of just stay safe and on their feet, elbows out in these early goings. But yes, I would say already a little bit of walking happening. That hill is tough. There's the trail bike taking up the turtle position, as we sometimes call it. But up front now, we do have a lead change, and we are going to do our best throughout this competition to bring you all of the updates as the athletes are crossing over a section of pavement there. And now into some of this sand that you were talking about, Adam, and all of this change of terrain can be really stressful on the body. So this is where athletes will do well to have run the course ahead of time, know where to push, where to pull back, and how to measure their effort accordingly, because that sand can take a lot out of you. You see the hay bales there as well, just an extra obstacle for some of these athletes.
Minutes into this opening race. Again, this just under 4 kilometers, the distance for these novice girls.
And I believe just tucked on the inside there in that green shirt in second place right now is Niamh Richards of Havergal College out of Toronto. Those green singlets are sort of a giveaway. That's the Havergal College colors, so easy to identify them. And she is currently sitting in second. You just see our leader taking a couple of glances over her shoulder, trying to gauge where the rest of the competition is. But after a very fast start, it looks as though maybe our leaders are just settling into their pace a little bit. You can see the rest of the pack not really interested in getting right up on their shoulders, but they would do well not to let them get too far out of their sights early on.
Richard was the Conference of Independent Schools Athletic Association regional champ. She won that title in a time of 16:55.80. It was a pretty dominant performance for her. Second place of that race, 18:41.90.
And I believe in the lead there, that is Chloe Walker, the tall athlete, center of screen. She's one of the ones that we mentioned early on as the LOSA champion with that dominant performance there. So she is taking on the pace setting duties early on, but she's got lots of competition behind her. And now another lead change as they're entering this forested section where, again, the course narrows. Athletes will do well to have established their position going into this because it can get really congested through here.
Take a look at our athletic elevation tracker. So on a bit of an uphill again, not one of the extreme ones that these athletes will encounter on this course, as that is Mackenzie Sherwin from Martin Grove Collegiate Institute, who has moved into the lead in the red kit.
So as you can see, lots of twists and turns through this forested section, and a bit of a breakaway now. Top 3 or 4 have really established themselves. And Adam, this is where, in my cross-country career, I would try to put some distance on my competitors, or at least work with the athletes up front around me to break the pack, because you are turning so often that there are some blind spots. And that's where you can really throw in a bit of a surge, establish a bit of a break, and then that can be a really difficult thing for the athletes who are in the trail positions to sort of make up both mentally and physically as they come back into the open section of the course in a little bit.
This is one of the more level portions of this course. They're going to get a little teeny downhill in a moment, and then they're going to approach that second big climb. Walker in the lead, although now Sherwin just moves past her on the inside. Richard running in third. That trio have got themselves a little bit of separation from the chase pack right now that's made up of 4 athletes. They're going to come through the first lap, led by Sherwin, 7:27.9. Her opening split, Chloe Walker, 7:28.1, and Richard, 7:28.7. And leading that chase pack right now, Selena Loring from Centennial in Guelph, 7:30.9 for Loring.
It looked like it was opening up. Hey, look up front.
You see again, Sherwin 7:27.9 through the opening lap, followed by Walker and Richards.
And Adam, here they are tackling this hill for the second time. So you asked if this was sort of advantageous for them to be approaching it right off the bat. And I think, again, it is, because you have that adrenaline. This is a tough point in the race. You've completed a lap. You know that you're halfway through. But mentally now, this is where I think the race really gets going. And this is also where, if you're a strong hill runner, and we're seeing that now with another move being made up front, if you're a strong hill runner and you can sense a little bit of energy being expended by the leaders in ways that you can capitalize on, this is a great spot to be able to make those moves. Good support at the top of that hill as well, as you can see. So now we really do have a trio that's separated, but Well done by Chloe Walker here, because every time she is contested for the lead, she reasserts herself. She's a tall athlete. She'll be one that other runners will be looking to key off of. I can attest to that as a tall runner myself. But she is really, taking advantage of that, using her height and her stride length to her advantage. And look at this now, putting a good gap onto these other athletes and asserting her dominance again up front. She's making the other athletes work really hard for this.
Checking in on the team competition through the opening lap, it's St. Thomas of Villanova leading the way right now. 261 points based on the placings through the opening lap. Leading the way for them, Addie Rudling, who was 6th. So currently they're at 261 points. Again, it's the lowest score that wins. Your finishing position is your score. So you want to get that as low as possible, and Chloe Walker has her sights set on a 1 next to her name right now. She has pulled away from Richards in this second lap. So it's Walker followed by Richards, and Sherwin running in third right now. It was Sherwin who had the lead through the opening lap.
Adam, this is incredibly strong running up front by Walker. She's going to the arms. You can see her really using those arms to her advantage, turning over faster now, and she is looking really in control. It's unusual that we would see a negative split on a course like this, but with Walker now, I think that 7:28 could be contested even faster over the second lap. She is looking incredibly smooth, and at this point, it looks like the race is on for second.
And running out by herself is something Walker is used to. Again, she was the LOSA, Lake Ontario area champion, 14:50.26, which was about 44 seconds faster than second place. So this is a position that she knows how to deal with.
Adam, that's a really good point, because again, mentally at one of the highest stages of competition in Canada, this could be a bit intimidating if you don't have that practice. Some of these regions are a little more competitive typically than others, so athletes might have a chance to be pushed by competitors or teammates. But there you see a little glance over her shoulder. She's doing a good job of running the tangents well, but also using those turns as an opportunity to just gauge where the threat is. There isn't any at the moment, and this is exactly what I was talking about on the first lap. You want separation to be established before you enter this section of the course, because there are going to be points where the girls behind her will not have eyes on the leader, and that's going to be to the advantage of Walker now, who again is just looking metronomic and so strong up front.
The battle for second continues between Sherwin and Richards, and it is Sherwin who has moved into second place right now. But if they want to challenge Chloe Walker, they're going to need to do something big, and they're going to need to do it soon, as she has opened up a significant lead here on lap 2 of 2 with the novice girls race, the opening race of the 2024 OFSAA Cross Country Championships. And another advantage of having this lead, Kate, is you can choose your pathway. You can take the one of least resistance. Of course, this cross-country route's going to get chewed up. It's not too bad right now. This is the opening race of the day, but still, it is advantageous when you don't have to contend with any other runners around you for the best piece of the course.
Absolutely. Yes, you're right, by way of footing and, those elbows that can get pretty sharp in the closing stages of a race. Again, athletes allowed to defend their space, not intentionally impede another runner, but I've had many a cross-country experience where there's been 5 or 6 girls or women around me contesting for that, top position, and it can get a little feisty out there. So Walker, just the class of the field here, dominating throughout the season at her regional meet and now here at the OFSAA Cross Country Championships. No one else in picture. And this experience, again, will serve her well moving forward. We hope to see her at the Athletics Canada Cross Country Championships in a month's time, perhaps the Athletics Ontario Championships in 2 weeks. Still lots of racing ahead of these athletes, but what an opportunity at one of the top levels of our sport to assert dominance, and that is exactly what Chloe Walker's doing.
Walker, the lone competitor from Uxbridge School. And she is into the home stretch now. No one else in sight. Chloe Walker on track for an OFSAA championship here. And she can just soak this in. She's into the final few meters now. Chloe Walker from Uxbridge is going to take the novice girls title here at the 2024 OFSAA Cross Country Championships. Walker through in a time of 14:38.2. Here's the battle on for second right now. It's Richards in the lead. Sherwin still in the mix. And it's going to be Richards crossing for second place. It'll be Sherwin across in fourth.
And Adam, I believe that was Alexandra Harris who split the difference there. Oh, and I could be wrong. It actually does look like it was Ferrero. Just trying to confirm our results here compared to the entry bibs. And it was Harris in for third, it looks like, as the athletes continue to stream across the line. And this is what I love about cross country. There are fights for every single place, every single second to this line, because again, the team titles are up for grabs, and athletes will know that their individual position matters so importantly if they're also vying for a team title.
So Walker wins the individual title, 15-14-8 for her. So she does here just what she did at her regional. She wins it by a healthy margin. Richards was second, 15-32-4.
And I should mention that Walker there with that brilliant performance from start to finish, really creating separation in that second lap. She ran to that line, Adam, as if she had someone right on her heels, and she surely knew that she didn't, but a true competitor through and through. And again, you're continuing to see that as these teams come across, trying to, the volunteers doing a great job of continuing to move athletes away from the finish line so that everyone can get across safely. But look at the fight and determination of these girls as they come across in their very first OFSAA championship. We should mention, Adam, we saw such tremendous results at the track and field championships in the spring, but of course for the novice athletes, this is their first opportunity to compete at OFSAA. And surely we'll see many of these athletes returning for the track champs in the spring, but phenomenal performances here. Great fight by each of these girls.
A battle on now for the team competition. And it looks like it is Georgetown who is going to take that. They've got 4 athletes across the line now. We'll just wait for the final confirmation there. Riverdale out of Toronto now, 4 athletes across.
And Adam, if that's true, that would be a tremendous finish because they only placed 9th as a team last year in the novice girls. So obviously have recruited some good talent and excellent development by the coaching staff there in Georgetown.
We now have our team scores coming in. So Georgetown, 333 points for the victory, leading the way for them. Grace Maramiri with her 20th place finish. Now we have some jostling of the position. So St. Thomas of Villanova has moved into second place with 337 points. Leading the way for them, Addie Rudling, and her 6th place finish. So that bumped Riverdale down into third. Of course, these results still unofficial. Got Riverdale right now in third, 354 points. Their top finisher was Addison Posthumus in 58th. So we always say that the results are unofficial. It's perhaps should be underlined when we're talking about the team competition. Just there's so many athletes and they're all crossing the line in bunches. So there will be some movement still likely in these team scores, but right now it is Georgetown in the lead with their 333 points, followed by St. Thomas of Villanova in LaSalle, 337. And, well, and now R.S. McLaughlin out of Oshawa has moved up into third place with 341 points. Their top finisher, Naomi Moore, who came across the line in 19th.
And of course, Adam, if folks at home are wanting to follow along with all of these results and updates, they can follow at Athletic Live. That's where our results are being populated online. But yes, Georgetown, a nice improvement for them. Again, nothing is official, as you said, but looks like they've at least locked down a podium finish, if not that top spot, and a great improvement for that team from their 9th last year. And right now, Villanova and McLaughlin sitting in 2nd and 3rd. Neither of those teams were in the top 20 last year in the novice girls division. So fantastic improvement for those schools as well.
And talk about the importance of racing right on through to the line. There's only 4 points separating Georgetown in first right now and Villanova in second, and 8 separating Georgetown from McLaughlin in third.
Such a good point, and I think all of the athletes in the further races to come throughout the day will do well to have taken a note about that point, because you're right. That's why you see sometimes streaming across the line. It's hard to differentiate the athletes because they're coming across so fast and furious. But if you're competing for a team title, and here you see a battle again, and I love this because obviously these athletes aren't contesting a podium finish, but they are doing everything they can to get themselves across in the fastest time possible in the strongest position. So great racing.
Chloe Walker taking the victory here from Uxbridge in time of 15:14.8, rounding out the podium. Havergal College's Richards, 15:32.4 for her, and Alexander Harris from John McRae Secondary School in Barrhaven. She is in the bronze medal spot, clocking a time of 15:33.3. Well, the temperature right around 9 degrees here for this race, Kate. We've seen athletes go different ways in terms of what they're wearing. We've seen the tights, we've seen the sweatpants, we've seen the shorts. What would Kate Van Buskirk's go-to be in these kind of conditions as we go back to your OFSAA days?
Well, I posted on Instagram earlier today. I'm actually sitting here as part of this broadcast wearing my OFSAA cross-country shirt from 2004. And I can tell you that it was in Guelph, Ontario, and the national championships were also in Guelph at one point. I raced there on a day that was -13 on snow and ice covered hills with a strong wind, and I was wearing bunners and a long sleeve, gloves, and a headband. So I was always the athlete who probably was underdressed for these races. This would be a shorts and tank top day for me, but the gloves are always important. But again, athletes wearing what they're comfortable in and doing the best they can to use all of their equipment to their best potential.
So let's take a look, at the team competition. So Georgetown taking the victory there, 333 points, led by Grace Mara Miri's 20th place finish, 16-13-8 for her. Kayla Claringbold, 95th. Lily Smith, 104th. And Mackenzie Connell, 114. So that is how they got to their 333 score.
And Adam, I think a really important point there is, again, it's the depth of the team, not necessarily if you have a superstar up front. We're going to see this in a moment with the breakdown of our second place team, but the team being led for Georgetown by a 20th place finish, great performance, but doesn't necessarily indicate that, that would be the strongest team. However, they were able to put together 4 girls that showed up on the day, did tremendous work, and that spread from 20th to 114th is actually quite small when you consider how many competitors there are in this race. So the depth of this team, I'm sure they've been training together hard all season, and it came together on the day perfectly for them.
266 racers contested this novice girls final. In second place, the team competition goes to LaSalle's St. Thomas of Villanova, Addie Rudling, the 6th place finisher. She's their top finisher. Maddie Macbeth, 32nd. Audrey Bondi, 134th. And Lane Taniolo, 165th.
So again, St. Thomas of Villanova, not a team that placed in the top 20 as the novice girls team finishers from last year. The novice races, Adam, as we'll talk about as we move into the boys division as well, is always a little hard to calculate because, of course, this is the first time that these athletes are racing at the OFSAA level. But the teams sometimes indicate, year on year, you'll see similar teams performing in the top 5 or 10. This is one of those cases where this was a breakout year for St. Thomas of Villanova, LaSalle, and well done by that quartet.
And rounding out the top 3 is the team from RS McLaughlin in Oshawa. Leading the way for them, Naomi Moore in her 19th place finish. Jaya Chahal, 44th. Ella Grepp, 64th. And Julissa Roberts, 214th.
And Adam, we should just make mention here that this is fairly unprecedented that the teams would have a 9-point division, actually an 8-point division. So 333 for our top team out of Georgetown, just 4 points back, 337 for Villanova LaSalle, and then 341 for RS McLaughlin. That is, again, I have raced a lot of cross country. I don't remember a time when we've seen results quite that close. So to our earlier point about every single place mattering, this is where that shows up. 8 points separating first from third is extraordinary.
So the first race of the 2024 OFSAA Cross Country Championships is in the books. It's the Novice Girls 4K.
And Adam, what a way to kick things off. There you see all 266 of those athletes coming across the line, working their way up that hill. Incredible work across the board. This is where our eventual winner, Chloe Walker, really separated herself. She was in good competition through the first half, but the second lap was a one-woman show. Chloe Walker takes the win here in the Novice Girls 4K race, driving all the way to the line. I love to see it, Adam.
The Para 4K race is up next, 10:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll rejoin you then.
Save the date, mark your calendar. Wednesday, December 8th.